What would you do if the man you trusted most, your best friend, revealed a truth that shattered your entire world 3 years after the fact? I never thought I would be standing in the dimly lit parking lot of the Blue Moon Diner on Sunset Boulevard, the neon sign casting a sickly blue glow on my trembling hands as Mark, my supposed brother, confessed everything. His words, slurred with guilt and cheap whiskey, painted a picture of my wife, Sarah, and him, entangled in a sordid affair. An affair that had been going on since before our first anniversary. The air grew cold, not from the Los Angeles night, but from the icy grip of betrayal tightening around my heart. My perfect life, my beautiful marriage, was a meticulously constructed lie, and the foundation had just crumbled beneath my feet. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. The initial shock gave way to a searing humiliation. Every shared laugh, every intimate moment with Sarah felt like a cruel joke. Every time I'd confided in Mark about our marriage felt like a cruel joke. I remembered Sarah's sudden late nights, her vague excuses about work projects at the downtown office building. I dismissed them, blinded by love and trust. Mark, my best man, the one who stood beside me at the altar in St. Patrick's Cathedral, had been sleeping with my wife. The irony was a bitter pill. Her behavior had shifted subtly, almost imperceptibly at first. She became distant, her eyes often glued to her phone, a secretive smile playing on her lips. I'd catch her deleting messages, her face flushing if I walked into the room unexpectedly. One evening, I found a receipt for a high-end Italian restaurant, a place we'd never been to, tucked deep in her purse. When I asked, she'd brushed it off as a client dinner, her voice a little too sharp, her gaze avoiding mine. Then there were the phone calls, hushed conversations she'd take in the other room, always ending abruptly when I approached. The pieces, once scattered and meaningless, began to click into place, forming a grotesque mosaic of deceit. Sarah, once the loving, vibrant woman I married, transformed into someone cold and manipulative. She'd gaslight me, twisting my concerns into accusations of insecurity, making me doubt my own sanity. "You're imagining things, David," she'd say. "Maybe you're just stressed from work." She became an expert at deflection, turning every inquiry into an argument, making me feel like the villain for simply asking questions. She truly believed she was untouchable, protected by her charm and my unwavering devotion. Mark, too, carried himself with a smug arrogance, a knowing smirk. Whenever Sarah and I would argue, as if he were privy to a secret joke at my expense, the weight of their betrayal crushed me. I spent weeks in a fog, barely eating, barely sleeping. I'd sit in our living room, staring at the wedding photos, the smiles now mocking me. The pain was physical, a constant ache in my chest. I felt like a fool, a cuckold, the punchline to their cruel joke. There were nights I'd just sit in my car, parked on a quiet street in Santa Monica, watching the waves crash, tears streaming down my face, wondering how I could have been so blind, so utterly naive. I hit rock bottom, a broken man. But from the ashes of my despair, a cold, hard resolve began to form. I wouldn't just leave. I would dismantle their lives piece by piece. I started gathering proof, meticulously, patiently. I installed discrete cameras in our home, focusing on the entrance and common areas, not to catch them in the act, but to document Sarah's comings and goings, her secretive phone calls. I hired a private investigator, Frank Miller, a retired LAPD detective operating out of a small office in downtown Chicago, to track Sarah's movements, her hotel stays, her credit card statements. He found evidence of numerous rendezvous at the Grand Hyatt in Dallas, always under a false name, always paid for in cash. I recovered deleted texts from her old phone, a treasure trove of incriminating messages between her and Mark, detailing their illicit encounters, their mocking comments about my unsuspecting nature. I even found a hidden bank account where Sarah had been siphoning off funds from our joint savings, a nest egg for her new life. With an iron will, I began to set my traps. I consulted with a sharp divorce attorney, Ms. Eleanor Vance, whose office overlooked Central Park in New York City. She specialized in high-set divorces and had a reputation for ruthlessness. We planned a strategy that would leave Sarah with nothing. I subtly shifted assets, ensuring my investments were secure. And untraceable to her. I started documenting every instance of her emotional abuse, her gaslighting, her neglect, building a case for emotional distress. I also leaked anonymous tips to a local gossip blog, LA Confidential, hinting at a prominent local businessman and his affair with a married woman, planting the seeds of public suspicion. The public exposure was brutal and swift. On the day of our divorce hearing at the Los Angeles County Superior Court, I presented the judge with an irrefutable mountain of evidence: the recovered texts, the private investigators' reports, the hotel receipts, the hidden bank account statements, and even a video recording of Sarah admitting to the affair. During a heated argument I had secretly recorded, the gossip blog had already run a sensational story, complete with blurred photos of Sarah and Mark entering the Dallas hotel. The courtroom buzzed with whispers. Sarah's face, usually so composed, crumbled. Mark, who had been subpoenaed, looked pale and terrified, his smugness replaced by abject fear. The judge ruled decisively in my favor. Sarah was stripped of everything: her share of our assets, her reputation, her social standing. The hidden bank account was seized, and she was ordered to pay substantial legal fees. Her friends, once so loyal, vanished. Her career, already teetering from the scandal, imploded. Mark's business suffered irreparable damage. His wife filed for divorce, and he became a pariah in our social circles. They were both utterly ruined, their lives reduced to rubble, just as I had planned. I watched it all unfold, not with joy, but with a quiet, chilling satisfaction. The emptiness inside me remained, a permanent scar, but the burning need for justice had been quenched. I moved out of our house, leaving Sarah to face the wreckage alone. I never saw Mark again. The world moved on, but for me, the echoes of their betrayal would forever linger. The silence that followed was the loudest sound I had ever heard. The end.